Remember when I made a whole video about water bottle culture and how Stanley Cups were the latest must-have water bottle on the market, to the point where people were trampling over each other to get one? Well, water bottle culture and its ruthless micro trends have struck again, because these days, it seems like Stanley Cups are officially out of style. How do we know? There are signs, my friends. You know how people talk about recession indicators? Well, how about fall of Stanley Cup indicators? For one, in March, the company held their first ever sale on the once viral Stanley Quencher Cup, 25% off. According to Good Housekeeping, the company has never done that before, which begs the question, why the sale? Struggling to get people to buy their bottles, perhaps? Maybe. As for our second fall of Stanley Cups indicator, Google Trends data, which shows what people are searching on Google over time. Google Trends shows that the phrase Stanley Cups spiked hard in early 2024, but has continually dropped over the past year. Fewer people are looking up Stanley Cups on Google, which I would argue is a clear sign of waning interest in the brand and the water bottle. And lastly, we have some qualitative evidence in the form of videos just straight up saying that Stanley Cups are no longer the cool water bottle to have. Instead, we see people posting that water bottles like Owala are the must-have bottle of the season. Oh wait, maybe it's like Yetis are now the must-have? Actually, what about those like Brewmate bottles? Scratch that. The must-have is the Hydro Jug. Okay, I give up. I actually have no idea what the hottest water bottle is these days, and I can't help but think that maybe no one really knows. Maybe it's all an illusion. I mean, these water bottle trends are like a never-ending cycle where we can't even tell when something starts and when something ends. And honestly, when something might come back in style years later. Like Stanley Cups weren't a new brand. They've been around for a century, but that did not stop the eye of micro-trend Sauron from directing its full attention toward it. But that right there is exactly what I want to talk about today. Let's talk about what is going on with water bottle culture these days. What does the fall of Stanley Cup say about our culture of overconsumption and micro trends? And are we ever going to escape this water bottle culture trap, or are we stuck like this forever? Destined to be trotting around our nursing homes one day with our future holographic water bottles. I don't know, what do you guys think the future of trendy water bottles is gonna be in like 100 years? I'm thinking maybe there's like shoulder pads come back in style, but this time the shoulder pads are like filled with water. I'm just spitballing here, okay? No bad ideas, but could be cool. Anyways, let's talk about all of this. By the way, if you're new here, I am Cara and I make video essays on the intersection of money, media, and culture. If you like watching videos that hopefully make you better with money while also mixed in with some pop culture analyses, then I think you're gonna like it here, so be sure to subscribe. And when you're done with this video, go and watch my original video on water bottle culture, because I think you'll really like that and it dives more into this larger ecosystem. And one thing that I mentioned in that video that we'll revisit here is the environmental impact that these water bottle micro trends cause. Reusable bottles were supposed to be the sustainable alternative, cutting out single-use plastic, reducing waste. Great in theory, but less so when we treat them like fast fashion, swapping out one trend for the next. Because here's the thing, these metal bottles take a ton of energy to produce and transport. They're heavy, which means that shipping them across the country or the globe burns more fuel and creates more emissions than we might realize. That same problem exists in another place we don't always think about, which is cleaning supplies. Most household cleaners, like your dish soap or laundry detergent, are actually 90% water. That means that we are paying to ship jugs of water around the world. It's expensive, it's wasteful, and it is totally unnecessary. And that is why I'm so excited to partner with today's sponsor, Blueland. They removed water from the equation entirely. You get these lightweight dry tablets that dissolve right at home. No single-use plastic, no extra shipping weight, and no sketchy ingredients. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, and all of their packaging is compostable or recyclable. Their laundry detergents, dishwasher tablets, and toilet cleaner pods are my absolute go-tos these days. My mom liked the toilet cleaner pods so much that she immediately ordered some for herself as soon as she saw them. And what is so nice is that they are super easy, they work super well, and it feels like this small, effortless way to actually reduce waste. Plus, refills start at just $2.25, which is way more affordable than the greenwash brands lining the store shelves. And if you set up a subscription, you're never going to run out. So if you're looking for a way to clean your home that's actually clean clean for the planet too, check out Blueland. Use my link blueland.com/CaraNicole3 or scan the QR code on screen for 15% off your first order. It's an exclusive deal for my viewers, and it's a great way to lighten your environmental footprint without adding to the clutter. Go check out Blueland today, and thank you so much to Blueland for sponsoring today's video. So first things first, what is going on with water bottle culture these days? Water bottle culture is, unfortunately, as strong as ever. Now, in theory, a water bottle has a straightforward purpose, right? It's there to hold liquids that you can drink. It's supposed to prevent spillage, and maybe, if it's on the fancier side, it can maintain a liquid's temperature for a day or two. Like I said, straightforward. But water bottles have turned into something else altogether. They have turned into status symbols. When you had a Stanley Cup last year, it may have shown that you're part of the in crowd in some way. You're trendy. Maybe an even more specific personification would have happened, like you're preppy, you're feminine, productive, health conscious. Yes, obviously, it's just a metal cylinder with maybe some flat Diet Coke in there, but the traits are nonetheless communicated by simply holding a Stanley Cup. And while those unspoken traits are often introduced by marketing, it's then reinforced through people, be it on TikTok, on Pinterest, or at your local gym, in a process known as symbolic interactionism. Symbolic interactionism is this idea that objects gain meaning through social interactions and shared symbolism. The object's meaning isn't static either. It's fluid and negotiated through media, trends, and culture. That is why Stanley Cups might have been seen as cool last year, but current media, trends, and culture are now likelier to push it as outdated or chuggy. By the way, chuggy, for those who are not chronically online or not regularly having to talk to people under 25 years old, basically means someone who is outdated or unfashionable. And yes, my 28-year-old butt did have to Google that. Thank you very much. So yes, symbolic interactionism tells us that objects are constantly acquiring symbolic meaning through society. In other words, these status symbols are totally socially constructed. Objects like the Stanley Cup only matter because we collectively decide that they do. And the moment that collective vibe shifts through TikToks or memes or even thrift store hauls, that meaning shifts too. This doesn't just apply to Stanley Cups or water bottles either. One of the reasons I love talking about water bottle culture is it is such a perfect example of what happens on a larger scale. Our obsession with designer purses or luxury watches, fancy cars, the newest phone, literally any object we culturally become obsessed with and find trendy is ultimately a social construct at the end of the day. And it's that social construct that we're really throwing our money at. To bring in another media theory concept, we should also talk about something called sign value. This is a concept from media theorist Jean Baudrillard, hope I pronounced that right, and it's the idea that we don't just buy things for utility, we buy them for what they represent. So symbolic interactionism gives objects these socially constructed meanings, and then sign value explains why we so desperately want to spend our hard-earned money on them. Like I mentioned before with Stanley Cups, the cup doesn't just hold water, it signals taste, status, and sometimes even personality. It tells people that you are on trend, in the know, maybe even are aesthetic in some way. Both these concepts, symbolic interactionism and sign value, help explain why we've assigned so much emotional and cultural weight to something as mundane as a water bottle. Because in our minds, we aren't just buying a water bottle, we are buying an identity. If you guys saw that AI trend where people created figurines of themselves and their little props, I feel like that's a good example of how our brains are conceptualizing consumption and identity. The objects or props that we buy and use tell people what kind of person we are, or at least what kind of person we want to be. And my theory is that our drive to consume trends and status symbols is coming from our deeper urge to belong. In an age where self-expression is visual, it's online, it's optimized for virality, products become proxies for us. But the thing about trends as identities is that they move fast, and once the object no longer reflects the image that we want to project, project, we drop it. I think that's why we're seeing rows of thrown out Stanley Cups now lining the shelves of thrift stores. It's why Stanley Cups are starting to go on sale and why people are saying that they're overrated now. The fall of Stanley Cups isn't really about this one company becoming less relevant. It's about how we as people and as consumers are over-indexing our identities into purchasable objects rather than trying to cultivate a deeper sense of identity and belonging. I know some people might be thinking I am reading way too into this, but I really think that this is a conversation that we need to be having, because identity formation through consumption and objects is only posed to get worse if we don't stop ourselves. Think about it. We are in an age of short-form media, of fast-paced trends, of instant buying. It is so easy to buy stuff now. Pair that in with rising loneliness levels, and we are headed in the direction of more people than ever finding themselves through object-based communities like Stanley Cups, or maybe Nintendo Switches, or maybe matcha lattes, or maybe Ford pickup trucks, or maybe clean girl nail styles. We've probably all dipped our toes into this even just a little bit, and it's hard not to. And so that begs the question, can we ever really escape water bottle culture? Or more like, what water bottle culture represents? Or are we destined to keep sipping from the next status symbol until we get tired of that too? My take is that we'll probably always have one foot in with symbolic interactionism, sign value, and our broader habit of clarifying identity through consumption. It feels almost baked into the human story. And honestly, I don't think that our goal should be to completely sever our relationship with finding meaning through objects. That feels like super black and white thinking, and I think life is way more complicated than that. But I do think that we can aim to rise above the kind of hyper symbolic consumption that we are seeing today, like the boom and bust of Stanley Cups. Buying something, especially buying a lot of it, just because it's trending, even when it comes at the cost of our wallet and the environment, that isn't great. I don't think we should be doing that. And I think that we are capable of doing better than that. We can start by being more intentional, by asking not just what we're buying, but why. Who told us that this was essential, that this was a must-have? What identity are we trying to project? And is there a more sustainable, more honest way to express that? I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I like to think that our goal in life should be to create more than we consume. Don't have your interests only be watching TV or TikToks or shopping or eating out at restaurants. Yes, do those things, they're great, but mix it in with creation. Create videos with you and your friends for fun. Go to crafting meetups, go for a run or a nature hike, cook new recipes and host a dinner. I think that creates such a more robust, fulfilling way to form your identity. And the cherry on top is that you will probably be helping your wallet and the planet in the process. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts around the rise and the fall of Stanley Cups, and what does that all say about our culture of microtrends? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also tell me what topics you want to see me cover next. I love to hear that from you guys. A big thank you to my patrons on Patreon and those on Buy Me a Coffee for supporting this channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and go check out my video on Let's Talk Water Bottle Culture if you haven't already seen that. It's kind of a larger continuation of this one, so I think you'll like it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!